If Candace Owens is crazy, then she's crazy in the exact same way every whistleblower, every dissident, every inconvenient truth-teller has ever been crazy before the establishment got caught. Because every time Candace kicks a hornet's nest, look who comes screaming out of it. Governments, intelligence agencies, billionaires, politicians, media conglomerates. Not random trolls, not bored civilians. Institutions. Institutions that do not panic unless someone has wandered far too close to the restricted zone. And that is why Candace terrifies them. She doesn't obey the invisible electric fence around approved narratives. She doesn't bow when they say, "Don't ask that." She questions the motives of people we're told are untouchable. She asks why, she asks who benefits. She asks, "What aren't you telling us?" She asks, "Why are so many of you sweating?" Candace hits the public stage with a flamethrower, and suddenly every elite in Western Europe is clutching their pearls like she walked into a museum with muddy boots. Because Candace noticed something that terrifies every government on Earth. Elites do not fear the truth. They fear the questions that lead to it. Candace asks the questions that threaten the scaffolding, holding the whole facade together. She doesn't care if she gets sued. She doesn't care if she gets mocked. She doesn't care if the media calls her unhinged. She cares about exposing the rot no one else touches because their paychecks depend on silence. Governments suddenly issue statements. Intelligence agencies suddenly clarify timelines. Powerful families suddenly race to file lawsuits out of nowhere. Media suddenly writes 7 hit pieces in 48 hours. Why? Because she's dangerous? No, because she's not controllable. A woman with a platform they don't own. A woman with an audience they can't hypnotize. A woman who refuses to speak in the approved tone. A woman who calls out power like she's talking to a misbehaving toddler. She has become the walking nightmare of institutions that depend on silence. There has never been a government in history that responded calmly to someone who was wrong. They only panic when someone is close to being right, making the powerful uncomfortable, demanding receipts, asking disturbing questions, refusing to shut up, sit down, or be intimidated by lawsuits or smear campaigns. Candace is not the problem. Candace is the stress test exposing how fragile these institutions really are. You don't unleash the full force of the international media machine against a woman unless she has accidentally stepped on the tail of something very large and very real. Candace's crime is not being wrong. Candace's crime is refusing to kneel. And for that alone, she deserves support, not silence. Because every empire in history has called its truth-tellers insane, right before they collapsed under the weight of the very secrets those truth-tellers were screaming about.